things would be so much easier if I don't know, use the mic stand. I don't want to because I like holding on to microphones. It's just really comforting to me, and it wouldn't be a video of mine if I didn't do that. Hi, hello. When I was much younger, my first foray into PC gaming personally was on an old Dell desktop computer. I don't think it was an Optiplex. I think it might have been an Inspiron with a Pentium 4 processor. This was the Dell computer that my grandparents had in their house in LA back when they lived in LA. They're both dead now, but you know, they passed away. It happens. My family and I would go to visit their house and stay with them for a summer. My uncle, who also passed away. Damn, this story is getting really, really dark. My uncle introduced me to a little game called Call of Duty. He had the original installers in their original case and complete with a CD key, you know, because back then you had to have a CD key and then you had to put the disc in whenever you wanted to play the game. PC gaming was something else back in the day. So he introduced me to Call of Duty, the first Call of Duty game, and I loved it. From the campaign to the multiplayer, which at the time had people playing it still. Mind you, this was, I think, 2 years or 2 or 3 years after the game had come out. I think Call of Duty 3 was the current Call of Duty at the time. And it was, I was having a blast just joining random servers in Call of Duty. And it was great. It was my first experience playing an online first-person shooter because I hadn't prior to that. Prior to that, I'd always just played by myself or played, you know, locally, split screen, because I wasn't allowed to play games online. My first experience playing an online shooter was on a Dell desktop in like 2003, 2004. Later on, I would learn what RAM and a graphics card are and what a Pentium 3 was, because when we got home from that one summer, my parents or my dad had picked up an old Dell computer that, you know, it looked nice. It looked a lot slimmer than the Dell desktop that my grandparents had. It had a Pentium 3. It had a Pentium 3 processor with 128 megabytes of RAM. My uncle had let me bring the Call of Duty installers with me to the Philippines. And the first thing I did when we got that new computer, was install Call of Duty. And whenever I try to install it, the game would tell me, you do not have enough RAM to play this game. Like, RAM? What is memory? Can I download that? Can I download memory? Can I download a graphics card? That is legitimately, I was legitimately one of those people. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was that kid. I was that person, but at least I learned. I learned, you know, well before I was a teenager. And yeah, that sort of began my curiosity for PC gaming. And then, you know, moving forward, started playing Counter-Strike, Dota, League of Legends, and all that stuff. Going to PC cafes a lot more often, against my parents' wishes. I had always been a console gamer, and PCs were more of a luxury to me than consoles were, because consoles were, you know, they were easier to come by, they were cheaper, and they sort of only did the one thing, whereas computers would do a bunch of the other things. You couldn't play Adventure Quest on a PlayStation 2 or a Dreamcast, unfortunately. So yeah, no Adventure Quest for me until we got better internet and a better computer, which didn't happen for a long time, let's be honest. And so yeah, let's just fast forward to today. I went on OfferUp. So I went on OfferUp. Someone was selling a clean Dell Optiplex 5080 with an i5 10th generation. $160. I went. It was late at night. It was after work, and I went. I had to do it. And you know what? I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all, because that thing, that 5080, it's absolutely clean. And I bought a 512 gigabyte M2 from Amazon, put that in there, and I got an AMD 6400 low profile graphics card and put that into the OfferUp PC, and my goodness, that thing is that thing is a little bit of a beast. For $300 roughly, more or less, it's basically just a giant Xbox. You know, like, if the first thing I thought of when I looked at it was, this thing just looks like a giant Xbox, like the Xbox One VCR model. That thing looked like a VCR model. This thing looks like a VCR model, but you know what? It performs a hell of a lot better than the Xbox One did. And I can say that for sure, because one of the games I used to test on this Dell, I'm just going to call it the Guile box, on my Guile box, was Resident Evil 4 Remake, which doesn't even have an Xbox One version. It does have a PS4 version, but Capcom, the devs at Capcom, those beautiful people didn't even bother with an Xbox One port. And that just kind of goes to show how underpowered and unfortunate the Xbox One platform was. As much as I loved the series consoles, especially compared to the PS5, the Xbox One was bad. It was really bad. Oh, did I forget to mention that instead of Windows, installed Chimera OS, which is basically Steam OS 3, otherwise known as the Steam Deck OS, but not exactly. But let's just say it's the Steam Deck OS, right? Being developed and kept together by a group of lovely people, very helpful people. If you join the Chimera OS Discord, you'll run into some really friendly people. If you have any questions about anything, those people are awesome. Going back, I put Chimera OS on this desktop, and it's just straight up a console. It's just straight up a console. I don't mind missing out on games like Call of Duty or League of Legends or Valorant, things that you can't normally get on a Steam Deck running Steam OS. And I was fine with that. I was absolutely fine with that. So I went ahead and installed a couple of games, and I'm gonna go ahead and, just talk about them real quick. Because Resident Evil 4, for example, ran at 60 flat, 1080p, low-ish settings, but it still looks absolutely beautiful. Again, this is a $300 system. I do believe that it struggles to hold 60 on the Xbox Series S. Let's compare those two, right? Because basically what I got is an Xbox Series S, price-wise. You get so much more versatility on this thing. Street Fighter 6 runs amazingly on the Guile box Dell Optiplex 5080. Compared to the Series S, again, the Series S will run it. It runs it well enough. But you know what the Steam Deck doesn't have? I mean, you know what the Xbox Series S doesn't have? It doesn't run Elden Ring at 60 frames per second, let alone a solid 60 frames per second on high. My favorite test had to be the Elden Ring test. It's running at 720p instead of like 1080, but it's still a great experience. Like, it's so smooth. It's so smooth compared to when I had played it on the Xbox Series S. And honestly, I don't have any complaints on it. Like, okay, there are a couple things, right? Obviously, it's a PC. It's going to eat up a lot more electricity than a console would. It's a lot less efficient that way. And it is, at the end of the day, it is running on an older piece of hardware, and is more prone to getting hot as it runs these games. But really, after installing a fan, or even without installing a fan, the 10th gen i5 processor that's in there still does a pretty good job at keeping itself cool. I don't know, it's pretty awesome. I don't even know what else to say. I didn't write out the script to this thing. I wanted to. I don't know. Let's just say we've gone full circle, right? I started out with a Dell, and now we're back to a Dell. And I don't know, I guess we'll just keep going, and we'll see how many Dells I end up using in my lifetime. I know there's a couple more than the ones that I mentioned in this video, but those ones are irrelevant at the moment. Dell Optiplex 5080 i5 10th gen, 16 gigabytes of RAM, which are two 8 gigabyte sticks, both clocked at 2300 megahertz, a 512 gigabyte M2 drive, and an AMD Radeon 6400, the Sapphire one, which I've heard runs cooler than the alternative one. I forgot what brand the other one was, but yeah, that thing, this thing is a beast. And the Guile box, this thing we're keeping. This is gonna be my primary. It's gonna be my primary gaming device for who knows how long, really. I'm on a budget now. I should have been on a budget years ago, but we're on more of a budget now. Running the Steam Deck, running the Dell Optiplex, the Guile Optiplex. We got a PS3 that's modded, but I haven't shown that one off yet. And I've got this laptop that I'm recording on, so I wouldn't count this as like a gaming thing, but you know, I'm using it to make this video, so. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. I don't use any other social media accounts, so bear with me. I use whatever. I use Discord. Hope you all have a great morning, evening, afternoon, or night, and I'll catch you on the next one. Also, P.S. I'm gonna be streaming on YouTube now. Yeah, get ready for that, because I am so tired of Twitch's video player not working for me. It's a pain in the ass. Anyway, bye.